Welcome back to Braves.
Armchair.
Welcome back to Braves.
Armchair.
Welcome back to Braves. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with MAGEE and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune in to The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey sports fans, The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with MAGEE and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with MAGEE and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@BravesCountry.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
Good night.
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey, Braves fans, thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves, bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to TrueGreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to TrueGreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hey, sports fans, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. March Madness day number 2, and it gets going 6:40 Eastern. Both of these games will be on True TV. Fairleigh Dickinson, 19-15 on the year, coming from the NEC. They will go head-to-head with Texas Southern out of the SWAC. The winner is headed on to play Purdue. And at 9:10 Eastern, 11-seed Nevada takes on 11-seed Arizona State. The Sun Devils are a 2-point favorite over under 133.5. They're playing for the right to march on and face TCU at 10:05 Friday night. The NIT has a couple of really good matchups. We'll start in the Sunshine State where UCF travels to Gainesville, Golden Knights versus the Gators. Florida is a 3-point favorite, 142.5 the over. 7 Eastern, Oklahoma State versus Youngstown State. Cowboys, -6.5 on the road, 148.5 is the over. Clemson, after getting jobbed from an NCAA bid, they'll host Morehead State, 15.5-point favorites, in Little John Coliseum, 7 Eastern on the plus. Alcorn State is at North Texas at 8 on the plus, while Virginia Tech travels to Cincinnati. The Bearcats, 6-point favorite, over under 151. Sam Houston versus Santa Clara. Santa Clara, 3.5-point favorite, 142.5 the over. In your late tilts, in NIT action, Utah Valley is getting 5.5 on the road at New Mexico. That game is 10 Eastern on the plus. And at 11 o'clock on the Deuce, UC Irvine at the Oregon Ducks. Quack, quack, giving up 9, 146 the over. Wednesday night in the NBA, and ESPN's doubleheader gets going 7:30 Eastern, 76ers at the Cavaliers. At 10 o'clock, they'll finish off the night with the Warriors in Los Angeles to battle the Clippers. Other games around the association, the Grizzlies are at the Heat, Lakers at Rockets, Celtics travel to the Timberwolves, the Bulls host the Kings, while the Mavs are at the Spurs. Major League Baseball spring training, Astros and Braves are in action in Northport, Florida. We'll keep you up to date with all the scores and highlights throughout the show. Also going down in the Grapefruit League this afternoon, Cardinals versus Mets, Phillies and Yankees, the Rays are at the Sox, Pirates and Blue Jays, Nats, Marlins, and out west at 4:05 Eastern, White Sox are at the Giants, Royals at Rangers, Mariners at A's, while the Giants are at the Diamondbacks. And later on this evening, you have 4 games starting on the 9 o'clock hour. Cubs and Reds, Rockies, Dodgers, Brewers and the Diamondbacks, and the Guardians are at the Padres. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are finalizing a deal with former number 1 overall pick, quarterback Baker Mayfield. Mayfield finished his 5th NFL season strong after landing with the Rams. He now gets a chance to take over for Tom Brady's Tampa Bay and is only 27 years old. The New Orleans Saints are adding defensive tackle Kalen Saunders. Saunders is coming off his best season with the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, recording 3.5 sacks. Dallas Cowboys are expected to part ways with 2-time rushing champion Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott, out of Ohio State University, would lead the Cowboys as the 3rd leading rusher in franchise history. Carolina Panthers are set to sign former Bengals tight end Hayden Hurst. Hurst will join Frank Reich's new-look Carolina Panthers, who are set to draft the top quarterback in the 2023 class with the number 1 overall pick. And the Tennessee Titans have agreed to terms with defensive lineman Arden Key. A 3-year deal worth $21 million, max value of $24. That includes $13 million fully guaranteed after 4.5 sacks with the Jacksonville Jaguars last season. In case you missed it yesterday, Andy Dalton signed a 2-year deal with the Carolina Panthers. He's expected to be the eventual backup, but could find himself in a starting role as the Panthers clean house. And the Lions sign former Chicago Bear running back David Montgomery. Expected to be a 3-year, $18 million deal. Meanwhile, running back and fan favorite Jamal Williams is expected to land elsewhere. And the Tennessee Titans signed former 49ers offensive lineman Daniel Brunskill, another former San Francisco player being brought in by the new general manager in Nashville, Rand Carthon. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Newnan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Rum and Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pub. Really? This is what you're doing? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair. YouTube Live.
Radio station. The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio. We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key. And simulcasting on youtube.com @BravesCountry. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. The screen says it all, baby. Aaron Rodgers made it official. He wants to go and play for the Jets.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? The Atlanta Braves are in a spring training game right now. They trail 5-2. That we will put on the back burner because just moments ago, last hour, it broke that Aaron Rodgers, who said this live on the McAfee show, and his good buddy, and I kind of figured they were orchestrating this while he's being so quiet, et cetera, et cetera. You got to realize the NFL new year, financial new year, essentially begins today. And so he broke the news that he wants to play for the Jets, and they're still trying to work out the details. But long story short, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Jet, just like I predicted over 2 months ago on this very show. People thought I was crazy. It's coming true. Aaron Rodgers is heading to the Jets. It's the one place in the AFC that made the most sense, especially because I felt like Aaron Rodgers and Josh McDaniel would not be able to coexist. He was a big Hackett guy. Hackett's now on the coaching staff of the Jets. He's not the head coach, but he is there as running the offense. And it made a ton of sense. It made a ton of sense. And you knew it was going to happen. And now Aaron Rodgers gets to help his brand. He gets to help McAfee's brand as well because McAfee loves having him on his show. I don't know what kind of deal they have together, but I do know I knew it was in stone last night when I saw a report that McAfee is talking about getting out of his FanDuel deal and going elsewhere to shop his show around, essentially. If people missed that, it's about a year or so ago that McAfee signed a deal with FanDuel Sports, paying him about $30 million a year, somewhere in that neighborhood. And now he's going to go shop his show around again. And when I saw that, the first thing that came to my mind was, you know why he's shopping it around? Because his biggest guest, because Aaron Rodgers by far is his biggest guest, regular guest. You know, he gets other folks, but Aaron Rodgers is by far his biggest guest. His biggest guest is heading to the Big Apple. With a lot more eyeballs that are going to care about what he has to say every Tuesday or Wednesday. I think they typically do it on Tuesday, but maybe it's Wednesday. It would make sense it would be Tuesday just because that's the off day in the NFL, but I don't know how he works it. I mean, it's just a little less than an hour that he shows up once a week. So, he could essentially do it anywhere. But the point is, when I saw McAfee talking about leaving FanDuel, that means that he's shopping it. He's shopping it because now he knows he's going to have the biggest fish in the sea, in the biggest sea, quarterback heading for the New York Jets, who is a lot more entertaining than Daniel Jones. So off the jump, he's got the biggest athlete in New York. Now, don't get me wrong, Aaron Judge is a big deal. As much as I love baseball, the quarterback position in the National Football League is the most eyes on you position in the world of sports. It trumps obviously anything in the NBA as their ratings continue to fall. And when it comes to Major League Baseball, there's not that one position that is so critical to the success for every team, right? So in other words, you're going to have a guy on all of your favorite teams that's going to be your favorite player, your go-to. This is the guy that represents us. But they don't always play the same position. Aaron Rodgers is playing quarterback in New York City, and that's no bigger eyeballs on him. So that's why McAfee's going to rework his deal. I would say FanDuel's going to try to keep him, but there's someone who with deeper pockets that may nab him. And this is a big old stick it to ESPN type of thing. Because remember, years ago, the question was being asked, why is Aaron Rodgers? I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers. I'm looking at the screen. Why is it that McAfee wasn't one of the lead guys on ESPN? Because he's becoming increasingly popular. And he made the statement at the time. He said, I'll be back when things change at the top. Basically, I guess the people that were making the decisions on programming in ESPN and McAfee didn't see eye to eye. Well, now it's all coming full circle because ESPN basically camps out and lives in New York City. I know they say Bristol, but most of their studio work, their big-time studio work, is live in New York City. They do some in LA, but it's all coming full circle, and McAfee's going to try to take on the big dogs once again. It'll be interesting to see where he goes, but Aaron Rodgers, if you're just joining us, is heading to the Jets. The deal isn't in place, but it's happening, and it's something we talked about on this show. I mean, I went back and looked at it, and it was December of last year when I first mentioned the idea. And I don't pat myself on the back very often, but come on, man, give it to me. I mean, I hit that thing out of the park. Now, granted, I swing and miss at a lot of things. But, you know, if you swing hard enough at a lot of things, eventually you're going to yank one down the line. And, by the way, Braves trail 5-2, but they are threatening in the 7th. We'll keep you updated on that. I know that's not nearly as exciting as the Aaron Rodgers thing or anything else that's going on in the world of sports. We're going to go ahead and take a really quick break. When we come back, Brian Snow is due to be here, and I don't see him in the room yet, but we'll see what's going on with that. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. Keep it locked here on the Key 99.1 FM. Bracket Busters are next.
Bro, Blake, play for the love of the game, man. What's wrong with you, bro? Money should not be a thing. Bro, I'm risking my life. What do you mean it should not be a thing? It 100% should be a thing. And if I get the Rona, on top of that, if I get the Rona, guess what happens with that? The damage that was done to my body, that's going to be there forever. No, I got to get my money. I'm not playing unless I get mine. More Twitch streams for us, that's facts.
Armchair.
The Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family, have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to DixieHandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball.
How to improve your dining room by the Home Depot. New wood floors, new paint on the walls. Sure, you know us for that. But how about a new dining room table, matching chairs, bar stools? How about free and flexible delivery with easy online returns? Now you can explore decor in a whole new way. Save now on furniture. Everything for your home. Everything from HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done. Limitations apply.
Braves Country with MAGEE and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, 99.1 FM The Key, your first choice for Southern sports talk.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Friday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day with Braves Country. The Atlanta Braves are in Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Country Baseball right here on the Key, giving you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. That's Friday, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day, Braves Country on WQEE.
Statute. What? Statute of limitations. It's not a statue. No, statue. Fine. It's a sculpture of limitations.
Welcome back. Aaron Rodgers heading to the Jets. Just joining us. He officially said his intention is to play for the Jets, but no deal has been officially announced. I would think it's probably got to be announced by Friday, and it might be the Friday news drop that we always end up getting shortly after our show goes off there around 5 o'clock. You just see it pop up on the news, and you're like, son of a, what was it the other day? It was right at like 5:30. Oh, and I believe it was a Friday news drop. The Carolina Panthers making the trade with the Bears for the first round pick, that broke at like 5:18 p.m. Something right there in that area on Friday. And I was on a text chain with one of the guys on the show. I was like, can you believe it? Like moments after we get off the show, I was like, it doesn't matter. I did a lot of morning radio years ago, and I swear it doesn't matter when you do a show. You're always ticked off when news like that breaks. We would do a wake up show from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. in North Florida. And this was right before the pandemic, and that kind of screwed everything up. That's a long story we won't get into. But needless to say, 10:05 a.m., some incredible news would break. And it's funny now because I watch a lot of morning shows when I'm getting up, heading to work, and then, coming home, I tape some of them, just kind of catch up. And they're in the two or three that I bounce back and forth with, they all make those same comments. Well, I'm sure the information is going to hit around 10:15. Also, note breaking news. Hey, here's something. NBA suspends Ja Morant for 8 games. I didn't catch the whole blurb. It said something basically for his conduct. So evidently they finally investigated. And as you hear Tony Kornheiser say pretty regularly, I guess there is a living and breathing commissioner in the NBA, because he is actually suspending Morant for. When you tally it all up, it's kind of a slap on the wrist because of all the things that he's pulled over the last calendar year or so. But that was the straw that was going to break the camel's back, was him flashing the gun in the video at the nightclub, because assuming that it was a real gun, there are laws in Denver, Colorado, where you are not allowed to have a gun in a place like a nightclub, place that serves alcohol, unless obviously you're a peace officer or whatnot. But I think that was finally the straw that they could actually get him on something. I still think 8 games is incredibly low. And he already said that he was heading to Florida a few days ago to to, I don't think it was a rehab facility, but it was a place to basically get some mental treatment, right? So basically talk to, I don't know if it's a psychiatrist or psychologist or what he was doing, but it was somewhere where he would go get some help, which look, when it's all said and done, that's the most important thing. But the short of it is he's going to be gone for 8 games. And I would think that would mean starting now, not the games that he already chose to miss. So he'll be gone for 8 games. And what is there? I was looking at it the other night. There's around a dozen games left in the NBA. So he'll come back with about 2 weeks left in the season, which honestly is plenty of time. Now that's assuming that he does come back this year. It might be a situation where he's gone off the reservation and he just needs a whole summer to get his act together. And long term, that might be the best thing for the young man. I don't know. I'm not close enough to the situation. I just know that what he has done has been appalling to a lot of fans. And it's not just that incident. It was, if you remember, the incident where him and his crew supposedly, after a ball game in Indianapolis, pointed a gun with a laser pointer at at the entire coaching staff or assistant coaching staff of the Indiana Pacers, which is a huge problem, obviously. Now there was no evidence to support that, but everyone that was there claims that that's what happened. And then there was something that happened last summer. I still haven't gotten the full details on that, but evidently he pistol whipped or was accused of pistol whipping some kid. And then there was another incident where he pulled a gun trying to scare some kid. And I believe both of those instances were during pickup games last summer, which is just absolutely absurd. I'm a little sketchy on those details, but the other two just happened. So Ja Morant getting suspended for 8 games. Now, yeah, it's going to be a lot of money, but then again, he makes a lot of money, so it's a drop in the bucket. It's not really that. It's more of the trying to get him away to get his head right. Like I said, the Grizzlies in Memphis and Ja may decide, look, maybe you need, he said, now look at that. They just updated it. It says he's eligible to return Monday. That doesn't make any sense. He suspended 8 games. They're not playing 7 games. So if that's the case, then this is just absolutely nonsense. This is absolute nonsense where they're claiming it's 8 games. But we'll see what happens with that. So if they're counting the ones that he voluntarily stepped away from the team from, that's not an NBA suspension. And if that is true, and I'm going to look it up, then that would be par for the course. And this is the reason why guys like Tony Kornheiser say that there isn't a living and breathing commissioner in the NBA because of these suspended on the wrist. It says here, suspended 8 games without pay. The suspension covers the 6 games he'll miss, including Wednesday at Miami, which would be today. Morant is eligible to play against Dallas the same day he's able to rejoin the team. So I guess they're going to backlog it and say that we're going to suspend you for the games you already missed. But this seems really weak on the NBA. If you're going to announce a suspension, you don't announce, oh, it's a suspension, and by the way, time served, you've only got 2 games left. That's a little nonsensical, but whatever. It's the NBA. What can you expect? Adam Silver continues to disappoint. Aaron Rodgers heading to the Jets. And let's go ahead. We're going to do what we had planned on doing here. I'm going to change screens a little bit. Braves still trail 5-2 in the Grapefruit League, and we'll get you caught up on those stats here in a minute. But I'm going to go ahead, even though Brian is a no-show, I'm still going to go ahead and get this going on here. This is becoming par for the course, and we're just going to go ahead and do what we planned on doing anyways, which is go over the brackets. Justin's on his way. He'll be here momentarily. We're going to go through the South region and I'm going to kind of just go through what we were going to do, which is go through the region in each of these games. And I'm going to spin it a little bit since I'm riding solo on this one. I'm going to talk the point spreads on it. So let's get into that now. If you have not signed up, and we'll get it in the chat, but you can go to Braves Country HD to either our YouTube page, which we'll have it in the chat at the next break. I don't want to try to do it as I talk, but you can either go to the YouTube page in the comments today. They're in the comments yesterday and the day before as well. Or you can go to our Twitter page, Braves Country HD, or our Facebook page, Braves Country HD. You'll see it pinned to the top, and it's free to enter a contest to win a gift card to Fanatics. And it's just in time as we're approaching opening day and whatnot, and you'll get that. The winner will get that gift card the day after the national title game when the score becomes official. We'll send it out via email, and you'll be able to either order online or you can go into your local store. And just in time for the Braves opening weekend series, as they will be on the road to start the year, the first 6 games. But that will get to you in time for that Friday tilt, which I believe we're playing San Diego the first weekend. So there you have that. Now, let's get into the point spreads and who will. Now, look, the first game, I'm going to start in the South region. If you're looking at your bracket, I'm going to start in the South region because when you look at the Alabama Crimson Tide playing the winner of, ended up being Texas A&M Corpus Christi. By the way, our lock hit again last night. Ended up paying about 2-1. Corpus Christi, I took them and Vanderbilt on the money line, and they both won. Vanderbilt cruised past Yale. I thought it was going to be a little closer than that. I was a little surprised that Yale didn't make it more of a game. They most of these college games get somewhat interesting down the stretch, but then the fouls get involved. And then what about this game last night drove me nuts. Before the Aaron Rodgers thing popped off, I was going to start the show off with this. If you watch that Pittsburgh Mississippi State game, the end of the game was absolutely absurd. What in the world is Mississippi State doing? First of all, it's the first time I've sat down and watched Mississippi State by themselves. I've always had them on during the season, but there's usually a second or third TV. That offense is atrocious. It is an embarrassment. And for the NCAA to put Mississippi State in the tournament over teams that were like Vanderbilt, which I've been pounding the desk all 2 months for, saying Vanderbilt belongs in the tournament, and they got hosed. Vanderbilt would have taken either one of those teams out with ease last night. Pittsburgh was missing their best guy. They've got an excuse. Mississippi State's offense was absolutely just abysmal. I mean, guys missing bunnies, whatnot. But okay, here's the situation. They're down by 1. They get the ball out of bounds with a few seconds left on the clock on their opponent's end, Pittsburgh's end. And they run a play to have a guy set up in the corner who, by the way, was wide open for his 3-point shot. But that's not the point of this story. The point is you needed 1 point to tie, 2 to win. A 5-foot bunny, anything. And as opposed to running something that would have had a much higher chance of not only making the shot, which their offense has been terrible all night. It's been awful all year. I was aware of their offense being bad, but I didn't realize how bad it was on the eye test as well. And by the way, I think it was mentioned in the sports break but it has become official. Ezekiel Elliott is getting released by the Cowboys. So, end of the game. Dude's wide open for a 3. I get it. And he misses the shot. Okay, you can say, well, he should have hit the shot. But why were you shooting a 20-foot shot in the corner when you had the size? Because Pittsburgh's front court was down and out. And if you don't get the shot, you're probably going to get the rebound, and it would have given you a lot more time to get the rebound. Pittsburgh did not defend the play well at all. They did not get either rebound. There was a rebound putback that was missed, and then by the time they offered at the second rebound, which, by the way, went in, it was after the buzzer. Wide open. Wide open. You are 20 feet away, wide open. Dribble the ball to the rim and try to get some foul. Draw some contact. Get to the line. You only need to hit one free throw to tie it. Absolutely terrible coaching by Mississippi State. Absolutely terrible coaching. All right, off that soapbox. Corpus Christi dominated their game, and I figured they would. When you see statistics like a team leads or second in the country in free throws and was top 20 in three-point percentage, give me that all day long in a 16 versus 16. But that's where the dream will end. Alabama will mash them. Tonight, by the way, you got Texas Southern versus Fairleigh Dickinson. Dickinson is getting 2.5. I'm still on the fence on that game. I haven't looked into it. I'm going to do it after the show, so I'm not going to give any advice on that game per se. I do know Texas Southern is pretty darn good. If I was leaning somewhere, it would be Southern on the money line at minus 145. I think I like that quite a bit. But there's certain stats that plus haven't had a chance to check their injury report, because I knew I wasn't playing it today. All right. And then later on tonight, Arizona State, Nevada. Arizona State should win that game. They're a minus 145 on the money line. Arizona State's been playing pretty good baseball. Sorry, the Braves is up in the corner. By the way, we trail 8-2. They've been playing pretty good basketball recently. Nevada has been on a slide. And the fact that is only a 2.5 point spread really surprises me. So Arizona State, I like them to move on, but that's not really a part of the bracket, because when you go into these brackets, you have until tomorrow morning when the game tips off. I think the first game tips off around noon. I want to say 12:15, but you can fill these out as much up until that point, and you can edit it up until that point. Once the games tip off, it locks. So Bama's going to cruise over A&M Missouri State, or sorry, A&M Corpus Christi. And then the second game in the region, Maryland, West Virginia. I really like West Virginia in that game. Now, the site that I'm on does not have the I might need to change sites real quick, because they don't have it in order as far as the point spreads, and it's going to get a little annoying. So let me switch over to the tried and true Thursday's games. West Virginia, Maryland. West Virginia is a 2-point favorite. I like West Virginia in that game. I kind of like West Virginia's chance to possibly pull off the upset against Alabama, but the fact that it's in Birmingham, I mean, that's essentially a road game. How many West Virginia folks are going to go all the way down there for a 9 seed? I don't see it. So if they pull it off, it's going to be an enormous shocker. It's one of my favorite dark horses, but at your own risk. I'll just put it that way. I don't have a lot of faith in that game, but I do like West Virginia all in all. Maryland's a pretty good team, but they play much better at home. Much better at home. Obviously, Birmingham, Alabama is nowhere close to home for Maryland, so that's why I'm leaning with West Virginia. The Next game up there on the South region, San Diego State and Charleston. These games are in Orlando. That's the 5 seed versus the 12 seed. San Diego, Charleston. I know Charleston is a very popular pick. San Diego State is a pretty darn good team in their own right. They're giving up 5. I don't like that line. If I have to choose in that on a point spread, I'm probably, because the money line is going to be way too high, I'm probably going to lean with taking Charleston in the points, because 5 is just, I mean, we're talking about essentially almost 3 possessions. And in a game like that, it just feels like that's a game that's going to come down to the wire. I'd rather have those points in my pocket. Virginia Furman is the other game that's being played that day in Orlando. And Virginia Furman, trying to find it. It's at 12:40 on Thursday. Virginia's giving up 6. That's another interesting one. Virginia doesn't blow a lot of folks out. I'm probably staying away from this. If I do anything with it, it'll be like a money line parlay where I can find another line that's a little lower than 6. And because what I found a lot of success with this year is doing 2-team money lines in college basketball on teams that are favored. And that's just what I've been rolling with. I've got a pretty darn good record, so I'm sticking with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I know a lot of the pros would probably say don't do that, but I don't mind a parlay as much when it's only 2 teams, especially if I feel good about those 2 teams. But that point spread, 6 points. Furman's a pretty good team. And the problem is Virginia, they don't have, and it's not like they haven't blown anybody out, but they don't have that rhythm, that up-paced tempo that has them necessarily go on big runs. They play very sound basketball, and it's hard to go on a run on them. But they typically methodically beat you in 6 points. It feels like a backdoor cover. It really does. We're going to go ahead and take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to hit the rest of the South region and more. Aaron Rodgers is heading to the Jets. If you're just joining us, we'll be back in a flash. More on that here in just a moment. Keep it locked in here on The Key. Friday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day with Braves Country. The Atlanta Braves are in Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Country Baseball right here on The Key, giving you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. That's Friday, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day, Braves Country on WQEE.
I'm just there till my divorce is final.
Now, who is coconuts enough to divorce you?
Oh, we gotta go. But we'll see you around.
Well, we'll have to have you over sometime.
I'd love it.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. She's awesome.
No, we are never having her over. Heard she already slept with 2 dads from the school.
What?
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins.
Little Bites?
That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love Little Bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you-know-what, you-know-who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high-fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love Little Bites.
Here you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Do you want to lose 18 pounds fast and improve your health? Now you can lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months with Nutrisystem. Get delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, even snacks and shakes delivered safely to your door. All delivered for free. It's easy to follow, and you'll see results in your first week. You'll get your favorite foods made healthier and perfectly balanced to put your body in fat-burning mode. Millions of people have lost weight with Nutrisystem, and you can too. Lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Take the scenic route in the new Hyundai Santa Fe, the family SUV with available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you travel way off the beaten path. Find new adventures together in the Hyundai Santa Fe.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
We were fired exactly the same day. A man stood across from me and he said to Clint, "You talk too slow and you've got this chip on your tooth, which you refuse to get fixed, and your Adam's apple sticks out. I mean, it sticks way out here. It's ridiculous. It's terrible." So I said, "I'm sorry, we have to let you go." And I said, "Excuse me, sir, what is it that I do bad?" He said, you can't act." Adam's apple.
Welcome back. I wonder who that was with that little speech that was Burt Reynolds talking about him and Clint Eastwood. A funny anecdote to add to that. He says later in the clip that he catches up with Eastwood on the sidewalk because him and Clint were good friends, and they're both trying to make it in the business, and he told Clint, who a very stoic, very hardly ever talks and whatnot, and Burt Reynolds came up to him and said, "Clint, all I know, man, is that you're screwed." And Clint said, "Why do you say that?" I can just envision Clint with that stoic look, and Burt Reynolds said, "Because I can always learn how to act, but you're stuck with that Adam's apple." All right, let's go ahead and get back into it. By the way, Braves trail the Astros 8-2. Eli White's coming to the plate. How about Eli White this spring? 458 with 3 home runs. Let's go. And he's one of the fastest guys in Major League Baseball. How does he not make the team? He gives you so many options with the new base rules. I mean, I was thinking all along that it may be someone else, but I'm thinking Eli White's carving his way onto that opening day roster. And he's the other thing that I've been very impressed by him as well. Solid defensively, but he's very patient at the plate, or at least he has been. I haven't watched his whole career. I've just been watching him this spring. And he will spit on a changeup that's off the plate, as opposed to other guys that we know who'll swing wildly and flail at it and have a 218 average. You have to throw a really nasty pitch to get him off his game. So I am a full backer of Eli White at this point. I really want to see him make this team. His home to first and base to base speed is ranked in, I was either 3rd or 4th in all of Major League Baseball when he came over. And you can see it. Like it passes the eye test too. If you're out there just watching it, you see it. We have put the March Madness free to enter bracket challenge in our YouTube stream. And I believe I pinned it, but I could be incorrect on that. Yes. Okay. So it is pinned. So you should be able to see it when you first go on there. It's also at, all of these are Braves Country HD. Our Twitter page, our Facebook page, it's all pinned. All right, back to the action. Let me go ahead and change screens as we went through the first part of the South region. And now I'm going to go to the second part of the South region and apologize for not having this queued up. We were the deal was we were supposed to have someone here with us today, and that person did not show. So it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. It's different when you know you're going to be by yourself because it's very easy to all right, well, if you haven't seen it already and you're tuning in, Rogers went to the Jets because I got to take this off the screen so we can see all the action on the screen. All right, South region. Next game on the docket here is Creighton and NC State. That's in the bottom half of the South region. And these games are played on Friday. So let me go ahead and hit those real quick. I'm giving you who I think is going to cover the spread on these because that's what we really care about, right? All right. Creighton, NC State. Creighton should cruise over NC State. NC State should not be in there. Clemson had a better resume. Nothing against NC State. I've always liked NC State. But my word, they got obliterated by Clemson 3 times, and Clemson didn't get in. NC State did. They get too in love with this quad this win and quad that win. What about the head-to-head? That doesn't matter anymore. Creighton's a 5.5 point favorite. I like Creighton on the minus 5.5. I usually don't like giving up big numbers like that. So personally, I'll probably pair it with, remember I was talking about another game in the last segment. There was like a 6-point favorite. I'll probably pair it up with that on the money line. But Creighton should cruise. NC State is not a very good basketball team, and Creighton has been. All right, the next game, you got Baylor and UC Santa Barbara. That game is on Friday as well, and I really like UC Santa Barbara in this. They've got an outside chance to pull off the upset, but if they do not, they're getting 10.5, and I like UC Santa Barbara. That might end up being my lock of the day. 1:30 tip, though, we'll be doing the game. If I do make it my lock of the day, I'll announce it as we come on. Friday, 1:05 Eastern, first pitch, Braves versus Red Sox. We'll have the call right here. And that's spring training game, but don't worry, we'll be keeping you updated on the March Madness scores. I'm working on something now where you can see the Braves score and the March Madness scores, so don't worry about that. We're going to figure that out. The next thing that we have up here, it would be the Missouri-Utah State game. Now, that game is on Thursday. It's kind of goofy how they put them, I guess, because they want, if you're like a Creighton fan, they want to make sure that you're watching the Thursday games and the Friday games. They play that game. I don't know if that's necessarily fair when you talk about the great scheme of things, but I don't think they care about that. All they care about is eyeballs on the TV. Missouri State, Utah State, Thursday game. I'm trying to locate the time and the it's a little bit like chewing gum, jumping rope, and running at the same time with these. Here we go. 1:40 p.m. and Utah State is a 1-point favorite. Games in Sacramento. I don't know if the Missouri fans are going to. I kind of like Missouri. I've heard a few folks talking about Utah State, but I kind of like Missouri in this game. Only a 1-point dog, so you're not getting a whole lot. So I'm probably going to take that money line if I take that because I don't really see the point in getting 1 point. All you're going to do is break even. I mean, if I do anything with that and I don't go money line, then I'm going to buy it to 1.5 because what is the point of a 1-point spread in any sport other than like hockey or soccer? What is the point? The next game, Arizona Princeton. That game is also on Thursday. And usually those games are a little later because you don't want Arizona fans to miss a game because it comes on at 9 a.m. But let's see what time that game actually starts. That's one of the things that I do like to take advantage of is that if I see a West Coast team playing really early, okay, 4 o'clock's not too bad. So we're talking about It's 1 o'clock locally. That's not too bad at all. Arizona is a 14-point favorite. I don't like Arizona to cover that line at all. They will march on, but I don't like them to cover that line because that is a big line. That's a pretty good Princeton team that really took it to Yale, who was playing pretty good basketball down the stretch. I totally misread that. I thought Yale was going to win the Ivy League, and that was the one game that I missed last Sunday. I hit all the others, but and that was the one I felt the most confident. And that's why I go by my tried and true theory. When you're betting sports, whatever it is that you bet, first of all, bet within your means. But whatever it is you bet, whether it's $10 a game, 20, 100, whatever, bet the same amount at every game. That way, and you're not up and down. Like the jockey guy, I noticed after he came on the show that one time and he would start talking and he's like, I'm going to lay 400 on this game, 100 on that game. And then, of course, later on, you see his winning percentage just in the crapper and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And like, this guy's losing his shirt because he's chasing his last loss. And you got to believe in your picks, number one. But number two, as you're learning, if you don't believe in your picks or you believe in whoever's picks you're leaning on, make it the same amount every single game. It makes zero sense to go out there and bet $50 on one game and 20 on the other and 10 on this one. You're like, I won 2 of 3, but you lost the $50 one, so you're in the hole. Makes zero sense. All right, the next bracket that we're going to, tell you what, this is about as challenging as it gets. Trying to produce this. I would have never planned to do this if I'd have known I was by myself today. Trying to produce this, run the screen, run this other screen over here so I can see the point spread. Let's go! One more ball in the air. I ain't scared. Purdue's going to roll all over. Actually, who are they playing? They're playing the Texas Southern Farley Decade. Well, we don't know the point spread on that one yet. They play tonight. If it's a really high number, like 15 points, and Texas Southern's getting the 15 points, I'm going to be leaning on Purdue. I mean, on the underdog. Purdue doesn't tend to blow folks out, and they let a lot of backdoor covers. Look at the Big Ten championship game. Look what happened there. They almost lost the darn thing. Memphis FAU, that game is also on Friday. This is one of my favorite games of the entire first round. I'm really looking forward to watching this. Haven't had a chance. Haven't had time to sit down. Okay, 9:20 Friday night. That's perfect. Man, is that going to be a good game? I'm rolling with FAU. I've been leaning on Memphis a lot, and they do have a good team, but they have bouts where they have droughts, and I don't like leaning on a team like that. When you talk about, I think FAU is also coming with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They're a 9 seed. They were ranked in one of the last polls. I'm not sure if they were ranked this week. They're 31-3 on the year. And I can contend that 2 of the 3 losses that they had were ones where they were just almost got bored. They're going to be ready and locked in. I'm rolling FAU on that one. Duke, Oral Roberts, that's a tough draw for Duke. Very tough draw, but Duke is playing some of the best basketball the second part of the year of anyone in the country. So not only do I think Duke is going to march on, as I'm trying to find the game, for some reason they have taken this off the board, so I don't see it at all. So I do not know what the point spread is. If I find it later, I'll bring it up. But as of right now, I don't see the Duke game on the board, so they've taken it off the actual board. But I do think Duke is going to win. If it's a double-digit type deal, all right, well then probably steer clear. But if it's around the 8-9 points, which I kind of expect it to be, I don't think there's any way, shape, or form that Duke should win this game by about 3 or 4 possessions, I guess is what I'm getting at. The next one, Tennessee, Louisiana. Oh, that's why I didn't find them on the wrong day. It's on Thursdays. Like I said, trying to do 9 things at once. Duke game, it's where I thought it would be, 7 o'clock CBS. CBS loves putting Duke in, but that was in the Krzyzewski era. We'll see if they get the same numbers. It's a 6-point Oh, yeah. I like Duke in that one. Tennessee, Louisiana, 9:40 tip-off. Louisiana is now getting 11.5 points. I am taking the Raging Cajuns to cover, and they're one of my favorite dark horses of the entire thing. Penn State, Texas A&M. We're starting to run out of time here. I may not be able to hit all these. Penn State, Texas A&M. Tomorrow, I'll tell you what, I want to make sure I hit the ones on Thursday that are going to have already played before we come on the air. We talked Virginia, we talked Missouri, we talked Maryland, Howard and Kansas, 2 o'clock. Kansas should roll Howard, but 22 points is a big number. If I'm going to pick one way or the other, I'm going to take Kansas. They don't typically struggle in that first round. Not when they're a 1 seed. Alabama, Corpus Christi, that's a 24-point line now. That's a little concerning. Corpus Christi is a pretty good team. 24 points, it's a big, big cover. San Diego State, Charleston, that's a 5-point cover for San Diego State. Like I said before, I would probably lean with Charleston, but I don't know if I'm touching that game. The Princeton-Arizona game, Arizona, 4 o'clock tomorrow. Arizona giving up 14. I like Princeton in that. And Arkansas, Illinois, that is a 2-point game right now. I really like Arkansas in that game. Illinois has just been so Jekyll and Hyde. And that takes you through the action. By the time we get on the air tomorrow at 4 o'clock, those are all the spreads. And tomorrow when I jump on at 3, tomorrow we've got Steven, we've got Trosh, and we've got I think Joey's not 100% sure if Joey's going to be out of the clink by then, but we'll go over the later games because I want to make sure that we get all of them in. All right, we're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, Justin's going to join us, and Justin is going to give us his final 4. We're going to go through his bracket game by game. Should be a lot of fun. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. March Madness day number 2, and it gets going 6:40 Eastern. Both of these games will be on True TV. Fairleigh Dickinson, 19-15 on the year, coming from the NEC. They will go head-to-head with Texas Southern out of the SWAC. The winner is headed on to play Purdue. 9:10 Eastern, 11-seed Nevada takes on 11-seed Arizona State. The Sun Devils are a 2-point favorite over under 133.5. They're playing for the right to march on and face TCU at 10:05 Friday night. The NIT has a couple of really good matchups. We'll start in the Sunshine State where UCF travels to Gainesville, Golden Knights versus the Gators. Florida is a 3-point favorite, 142.5 the over. 7 Eastern, Oklahoma State versus Youngstown State. Cowboys, -6.5 on the road, 148.5 is the over. Clemson, after getting jobbed from an NCAA bid, they'll host Morehead State, 15.5-point favorites, Little John Coliseum, 7 Eastern on the plus. Alcorn State is at North Texas at 8 on the plus. Well, Virginia Tech travels to Cincinnati. The Bearcats, 6-point favorite, over under 151. Sam Houston versus Santa Clara. Santa Clara, 3.5-point favorite, 142.5 the over. In your late tilts, in NIT action, Utah Valley is getting 5.5 on the road at New Mexico. That game is 10 Eastern on the plus. And at 11 o'clock on the deuce, UC Irvine at the Oregon Ducks. Quack, quack, giving up 9, 146 the over. Wednesday night in the NBA, and ESPN's doubleheader gets going 7:30 Eastern, 76ers at the Cavaliers. At 10 o'clock, they'll finish off the night with the Warriors in Los Angeles to battle the Clippers. Other games around the association, the Grizzlies are at the Heat, Lakers at Rockets, Celtics travel to the Timberwolves, the Bulls host the Kings, while the Mavs are at the Spurs. Major League Baseball spring training, Astros and Braves are in action in Northport, Florida. We'll keep you up to date with all the scores and highlights throughout the show. Also going down in the Grapefruit League this afternoon, Cardinals versus Mets, Phillies and Yankees, Rays are at the Sox, Pirates and Blue Jays, Nats, Marlins, and out west at 4:05 Eastern, White Sox are at the Giants, Royals at Rangers, Mariners at A's, while the Giants are at the Diamondbacks. And later on this evening, you have 4 games starting on the 9 o'clock hour. Cubs and Reds, Rockies, Dodgers, Brewers and the Diamondbacks, and the Guardians are at the Padres. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are finalizing a deal with former number 1 overall pick, quarterback Baker Mayfield. Mayfield finished his 5th NFL season strong after landing with the Rams. He now gets a chance to take over for Tom Brady's Tampa Bay and is only 27 years old. The New Orleans Saints are adding defensive tackle Kalen Saunders. Saunders is coming off his best season with the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, recording 3.5 sacks. Dallas Cowboys are expected to part ways with 2-time rushing champion Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott, out of Ohio State University, would lead the Cowboys as the 3rd leading rusher in franchise history. Carolina Panthers are set to sign former Bengals tight end Hayden Hurst. Hurst will join Frank Reich's new-look Carolina Panthers, who are set to draft the top quarterback in the 2023 class with the number 1 overall pick. And the Tennessee Titans have agreed to terms with defensive lineman Arden Key. A 3-year deal worth $21 million, max value of $24. That includes $13 million fully guaranteed after 4.5 sacks with the Jacksonville Jaguars last season. In case you missed it yesterday, Andy Dalton signed a 2-year deal with the Carolina Panthers. He's expected to be the eventual backup, but could find himself in a starting role as the Panthers clean house. And the Lions sign former Chicago Bear running back David Montgomery. It's expected to be a 3-year, $18 million deal. Meanwhile, running back and fan favorite Jamal Williams is expected to land elsewhere. And the Tennessee Titans signed former 49ers offensive lineman Daniel Brunskill, another former San Francisco player being brought in by the new general manager in Nashville, Rand Carthon. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country. Friday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day with Braves Country. The Atlanta Braves are in Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Country Baseball right here on The Key, giving you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. That's Friday, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day, Braves Country on WQEE.
Armchair.
10 years ago, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from maximum security stockade. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire
Braves Country, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Good afternoon, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good afternoon, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. All these NFL players with agents are getting deals. Where you at, Lamar?
You're in Braves Country.
Welcome back. Justin joining us. And I'm getting a note from WQEE. The Braves game will be caught live at 2 p.m. on Friday here if you do want to hear the beginning of it, it will be on Braves Country HD at 1:05 Eastern. Justin, the whole Lamar Jackson thing, did you see the thing where he was like trying to brag that he turned down a 3-year 133 deal guaranteed and that he didn't need an agent? Did you see this whole thing?
I did.
Is that not a strange brag?
That is a very strange brag, especially considering I think 7 minutes ago his legal period to negotiate with other teams started, and you would think if you turned an offer like that down, you would have one turned in by now, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Like, I think, well, you know what? If he was smart, he would have went out and got himself an agent by now. Instead, he's listening to family. And as you know as well as I do, that'll always get you in trouble. But to go out, I mean, I think I mentioned this last week, but I hate to admit it, but man, Lamar Jackson needs some Scott Boras in his life. As much as I dislike Scott Boras, that dude gets it done. I know that much. And now
that'll be the breaking news of the hour.
I'm sorry, do what?
That'll be the breaking news of the hour. Lamar signs with an agent. Not what you were leading up to. Aaron is a New York Jet.
I mean, if he wants to get it done, that's what he needs to do. A lot of these teams don't want to deal with him because he doesn't have an agent. And the harsh reality is when they get in these meetings, there's some ugly things said back and forth about players. You don't want to say it to the guy you're trying to court, right? You want to say it to their agent and not it become, a whole emotional thing. I've got a feeling we're heading for a long stalemate, and whether or not he plays in 2023 could be up for, this could be a thing that goes on all summer.
I got a lot of friends that need marital agents. You think we could design that and they can negotiate for them? I mean, that's a whole new career we just created here on the ACQB network.
Are you talking like a divorce lawyer? Because that would literally be like
no, I'm talking on the front end. You do your negotiation like a prenup, but it's an arbitration where you've got your own representative setting it up for you beforehand. That way you just get all the ugly stuff out of the way that you uncover over the next 2 decades.
I was going to say that would literally be going like walking into a courtroom is I'm going to represent myself. And unless you're a lawyer, that's a terrible idea, right? It's probably not even a good idea anyways. What's the old line? The man that represents himself has a fool for a client.
Yes.
So
I've heard it simplified, only a fool represents himself. But yes, there's no way I would expose myself to that.
This is literally like deciding that you're going to do brain surgery on yourself. I'll be fine. As long as I got the right lighting, it'll be fine. What's the worst that could happen? Aaron Rodgers I didn't think this was legal for him to say that he wants to go to the Jets, but somehow it is. And he's getting on the Pat McAfee show a couple hours ago and said that he has designs to go to the Jets. I really don't know how the ins and out. I know you're not supposed to be able to say that, just like teams aren't supposed to be able to say we want Aaron Rodgers. But the tea leaves have been very, very obvious when they go out and they sign Lazard yesterday for $40 million. You didn't sign Alan Lazard, who is a very good receiver, but I don't know if he's elite. You didn't bring him in to just be an also guy on a team that has Zach Wilson at quarterback. And if you did, you're going to look like the biggest.
And then you pair that with offensive coordinator ties. But I'm like you. I don't know how much should have been said. And at this point, you don't know what's rumors and not, because, it almost seems as if he comes across saying that Green Bay's kind of holding it up. Just depends on how you look at it for compensation is supposedly what they would be holding it up for. How are they working out them terms and all that? But yeah, to come out and drop it and to say that it's not a decision day, but you're coming out and dropping a bomb like that on your buddy's show, it's pretty much a decision day. Although you try to deflect and say you made the decision Friday, but
It is a final Braves.
He's going to be entertaining in the New York media.
It is a final. Braves lose 9-3 to the Astros in the spring training game. The highlights of this: Strider 3 2/3 innings, did give up 6 hits, but struck out 8. I mean, that's wow. Jesse Chavez, 1 inning, struck out 2, no earned runs. Strider did give up 2 earned runs. Kirby Yates got pounded, 2 2/3. Or I'm sorry, 2/3 of an inning, 3 earned runs, did strike out 2. His ERA in the spring now is 13.5. And I know David O'Brien of The Athletic has said routinely that he believes he's going to make this team. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's due $6 million this year. But man, I mean, I don't want to just bring a guy on because we owe him money. At least Ozuna, the one thing you can say about Ozuna, he is hitting over 300 this spring. So maybe there's something there. But you can't just have Yates. I don't think you can. I don't think Yates has any options. So you either have to put him on the team or you have to DFA him and hope he slips through the cracks and you can put him down in the minors. He's got 3 weeks to get this figured out. Or no, 2 weeks to get this figured out. We're 2 weeks from opening day. I don't know where I was getting 3 from. Are you ready for your draft, sir?
No.
That's
I'm
what
just
I like
being honest, but I will be come draft time.
That's what I like to
I know
hear.
you do.
I got a baseball prospectus in the mail the other day. And it's the first time I've had one in a long time because they're kind of pricey. But long story short, I got a discount because of media credentials that I don't know how legitimate they are, but they gave them to me. So anyways, I opened that thing up the other day and it's breaking down all the new stuff they're adding and the stuff that they've had in there for a few years and all the different, I mean, we're talking about dozens and dozens of acronyms, right? For all these stats. Dude, that is a 6-month class in itself. Not to mention the fact when you go to the actual team pages, each player is broken down. I mean, it is just a wealth of knowledge. I'm going to have to dive into that entire thing by opening day just to be able to cover the Atlanta Braves part of it. And I'll worry about the rest of it as it goes. I'm going to try to go through the NL East because I got very little downtime, so I'm trying to read this thing. And it's heavy, it's big, it's not something that you take into your office away from your office, if you know what I mean. Like you're dropping that thing in if you're not careful, you're going to break a toe in the bathroom is what you're going to do. So I'm like, man, I did not expect that thing to be as big as it is.
I'm interested to dive in this season, and I'm not worried about it. I like our waiver wire in our league, and don't worry, I'll still be at the top this year.
Oh, this has
nothing
to do with
underestimate.
fantasy. Yeah, this has nothing to do with fantasy. This is actual baseball. Yeah, there's no way I would try to get through the if they make a fantasy baseball prospectus. I don't know that they do. I wouldn't want anything to do with it. That thing would be like the size of like 17 Bibles. There's no way around it. They have whole introductions of guys that came up with junk, different statistics, and their introductions to themselves is 2 or 3 pages long. I'm like, and you're not just reading it and just going through like a typical story. What you have to do is absorb it like a calculus book. You're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? What does that mean again? It's rough. All right, let's go ahead and get into the get Aaron Rodgers pictures off the screen as he's heading to the guy going to the Jets. Or at least he says he is. It says that's where he wants to go. If the Jets don't get him, this is going to be about as embarrassing as it's ever been for a lot of people, including me, because I've been pounding the table for I don't know how long about this. But anyways, I got your bracket up. Let me see which one we go with first. I'm just going to share it and we'll go from there. I got the first one up and let me see. It is, I think this is the South region, but I'm not 100% sure. Yes, the South region. And I'm going to try to expand. Well, that doesn't work. I'm going to try to expand it to where folks who are watching on YouTube can see it a little better. I guess that's not too bad. That's about as close as I can get it as far as, so I'll just have to read it to folks, I guess. All right. You got Alabama. I don't think you had to worry about that. Then you took Maryland to beat West Virginia and Alabama to get out of that bracket. Do you have any worries about Alabama winning those first two games?
I don't think so. I think when you get later into the Sweet 16, the pressure gets on is when Alabama will see some tougher games. But no, I don't. I think they performed. They went down the stretch of the tournament and final days of the SEC season and had some stiff competition. So I think they'll respond.
Speaking of stiff competition, what's your take on this whole Trevor Bauer going to Japan?
I can't really say on air, but it's a shame. I'll leave out the rest of it. Man, I thought somebody would take a flyer on him, but maybe they need to see him go over there and strike out the entire league, and then somebody pick him up on a cheap contract, league minimum. But good for him. I'm glad he's getting to play the game. If he was,
what I'm wondering about is the $4 million he gets, and I realize there's incentives there, but we'll just call it $4 million. Does that affect in any way the 22 he was getting from the Dodgers, or is that on top of it? And if it's on top of it, man, it's actually a smart move. I don't know how that plays out when you're talking about a different league in a different country. I would think he still gets the 22, but my only question would be, is that what if someone goes to pick him up, right? And he's over in Japan and says, I can't come. Does he lose all that money? Is there a loophole there for the Dodgers? Because they say, hey, you signed a contract and you're not available to play. What now? I wonder
it's
about
an interesting take, because I would have thought they would have had to release him for him to be able to sign a contract to go over to Japan and play. But that's very interesting that that's not in their contract and that he has the decision to go do that while under contract with a major league team.
Yeah,
sure, there's a lot of GMs thinking about that today. Yeah, but I mean, think about that. If you don't have it,
he's supposed to get 22.
Yeah.
And then if Atlanta or whatever team picked him up, they would have to pay $720,000 of the $22 million is how it works. But what I want to know is a team is out there, they see him lighting it up over in Japan, right? And they have a major injury and they go, why not? Let's go get him. And he says, I can't leave because I forget what they're called, but the something Bay Stars want me to pitch until I don't know how long their season. I know their seasons aren't as long as ours, but we'll say August, and they're calling him in July, and they say, no, you got to come now. Is he in breach of contract? That's the biggest question I have on that. But
I mean, if the checkbook's big enough, no.
I don't think it's interesting if the Dodgers could get some kind of partner, say, hey, let's screw with him. Wait till he's over there. Wait till he pitches his first game and let's go, hey, man, we want you to come back over. And let's just see what he does. which would open up a lot of money for the Dodgers to go after Shohei Ohtani. So it all comes full circle in the country of Japan. There you go. Going on with your bracket.
I mean, that kind of sums up my bracket. I applied the same principles.
By the way, man, Japan is just roasting everybody in the WBC. San Diego State, you got them marching on. You got Virginia marching on. You got San Diego State beating Virginia and then Alabama beating San Diego State. Are you concerned about Alabama getting that far?
No, feel pretty good about that one. I could be wrong on the San Diego State side. That could be a Virginia matchup there. But either way, I still think that Virginia runs into trouble. That defense, when they can get shut down and can't score points, we've seen Alabama can still face a Tennessee, and they have shooters that can score. So no, even in that style game, I'll still like Alabama.
All right, and then we have, by the way, folks who are watching.
I just said that.
By the way, folks that are watching, we've got it pinned at the top of the comments. You can join the free to enter bracket challenge, and you want to get signed up before tomorrow's first games. And the winner is, and everyone's entered, but the winner gets a $50 gift card to Fanatics just in time for opening day or NFL draft, whatever you want to spend it on. Baylor, NC State, you've got those two winning, and then you've got Baylor knocking out NC State. And then to finish that off, Missouri, you've got them winning. And why can I not get to the bottom of this thing? Let me see here. Let me see. Well, I can't see the bottom of that bracket, but you've got Missouri winning, and then you've got Missouri playing Baylor. And I'm trying to remember off the top of my head who it is that's in there. I don't know why I can't see it on this. But anyways, you've got Missouri beating Baylor and then Alabama beating Missouri in the final. Is that just SEC love?
I guess it's the only ball I've seen this season, and I have no idea. And I've noticed as I look back through my bracket, I've done that in two other divisions. So I'm destined for failure, or I'm going to get very, very lucky. And we're going to see some great things because I got some great Elite Eight matchups, I think.
Yeah, you know, I mean, as far as folks down around this area, you really do. Let's go ahead and take a really quick break. It's just past 4:20. Smoke them if you got them. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream.
You smiling?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why are you smiling?
Because I love football. Football's fun.
Fun, sir.
Fun, sir.
It's fun.
Yes.
You sure? You think football is still fun?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes. No.
No?
Sir. Well, it was fun.
Not anymore, though, is it? Is it?
No, not.
No, it's not fun anymore. Not even a little bit.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Are you listening?
Braves country. My intentions is to play for the New York Jets. Direct quote from Aaron Rodgers earlier today. And Justin, Ryan Wilson of CBS Sports is over here talking about. It's really funny. His mock drafts have changed 16 times in the last 4 days. He's now saying Bryce Young. He'd been talking about AR-15 for the longest time. But he makes the comment, and I know that Carolina is your favorite NFC team. He made the comment that the Panthers are deciding on a quarterback but could still trade down. Why in God's name would you trade all of what they traded just to trade back down? They've got to. I feel like Carolina knows who they want. You there? I think Justin might have froze. All right. But we'll wait for him to join back in. I just saw his video move for a second. Justin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm back. I apologize. Hit a dead spot. I heard the most part of that. I don't think the Panthers draft back. If you need your quarterback, you're going to take them right there.
You could speak up.
I don't see it anyway. The Panthers take a quarterback. They're not drafting back with that need if they've got one of their guys sitting there that they have circled. I don't agree with the fallback and of the Panthers still needing a quarterback. Do you? Is that where you were going with that before I lost you?
Yeah, basically what I'm saying is why would you put that big of a package together to move up a handful of spots and you don't know who you want and you don't even know if you want a quarterback? That makes zero sense. They went out and they signed Andy Dalton, right, to a 2-year deal. Was it yesterday or whenever it was? That's strictly to back up and possibly begin the season as the quarterback because you don't want to throw your number one pick into the mix, right? But there's no way they're not drafting a quarterback. Now, who it is, I don't know. This guy, Ryan Wilson's been saying for the longest time that Anthony Richardson was going to be the number one quarterback taken, and now he's backstroking and saying Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. But I can't take anything he says seriously anyways because he's been wildly wrong on most of his NFL draft picks over the years. But it wouldn't shock me for Anthony Richardson, to be honest with you, because of what he did in the combine. But it would shock me if the Panthers said, I don't know if we want a quarterback. Let's trade back a few spots and we'll take an interior lineman. You gave up 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, and your number 1 wide receiver to move up 6 or 7 spots to do what? Not take a quarterback in a quarterback-driven league? There's no way. There's no way.
They're going to take their quarterback.
And your boy Baker Mayfield's already signed with the Buccaneers today, so you can't revisit that now. Dude, if there's ever been a guy who's going to melt under the pressure, it's going to be Baker Mayfield filling Tom Brady's shoes in Tampa Bay. Because I follow a lot of their social media down here. Their fans are just going to be brutal. At the very beginning, it'll all be loved. They'll all be buying his jerseys. And then the first game he throws 3 interceptions, they're going to be wanting to run him out of town on a pitchfork. And he only signed a 1-year deal. All right, back to the to your bracket, going down to the East now. And in the East bracket, see what we have here. So I had to go ahead and pull this up on a different deal because I couldn't see the bottom. I don't know why I can't see the bottom of it. I could see it fine when you sent it to me. I don't know what the deal is with that. But anyways, the East bracket, Purdue is the number 1 seed, and they will play the winner of tonight's Fairleigh Dickinson Texas Southern game. I think we both expect them to cruise on past that. The Memphis, Florida, Atlanta game, that one's interesting to me. You took Memphis. I think that's going to be one of the better matchups. I don't know if it'll be one of the better games. You never know about that, but it's one of the better matchups of Thursday, Friday. And then you got Purdue beating Memphis. And then you have Duke you have Oral Roberts pulling off the upset against Duke. And then you've got Tennessee. You've got Oral Roberts going to the Sweet 16, huh?
That's my 12 seed, I think, makes a little noise. I know Duke's been hot on a tear down the stretch, but I don't know. Something just tells me. And then if you're going to knock off Duke, you might as well knock off Tennessee, too. They don't have an offense. They've folded going down the stretch as well. So might as well make a statement, Oral Roberts. Come on, pulling for you.
And one of my favorite bets of the week is Louisiana Lafayette and the points. They're getting like double digits. I think I just saw it is up to almost 12 points. It's like 11.5 right now. Louisiana Lafayette's got a very good team. I've watched them play probably a handful of times over the last couple of months. They are really good. And Tennessee not having their guy, he's done for the season. I just think that's going to be it. If Tennessee does win, it ain't going to be by much. That's going to be a really good game. I can't believe that they are that big of a favorite. You've got, let's see, Southern Cal, Michigan State. I'm going to try to blow this up a little bit, but it's hard because the bigger I make it to where we can see it, the less I can see of the bracket. But anyways, you've got, let's see,
Michigan State in that. I should have.
Yeah, you took Michigan State, and then it looks like you took Kansas State, and then Kentucky to win, and then you've got Kansas State, and I'm going to assume it was of the Michigan State game. Do you remember who you picked out? I'm trying to do like 9 things at once here.
Michigan State.
Okay. Marquette versus, it keeps cutting off the bottom one, but it was weird because when you sent me the pick, it was fine. When I looked at it earlier, it was fine. Now it keeps cutting it off. And then you've got Marquette versus Michigan. You got Michigan State beating Marquette as well. Is that right?
I do.
And then going from that, who do you have coming out of the South region all in all? That was the Alabama region. Do you have Alabama coming out?
I do.
So you got Alabama coming out of the Purdue one. Who do you have coming out of the Purdue?
I believe that is that the Michigan State bracket?
Yes.
I've got Michigan State winning out.
Oh, wow. Going all the way to the finals. All right. I see it now. And beating Purdue. Wow.
Don't ask me how I put another Big Ten matchup like the SEC matchup. But.
Well, I mean, if anybody knows anything about you, they know you're a huge Big Ten guy. So it only makes sense. I know it doesn't shock you that my 12-5 upset is Drake knocking off Miami.
I can't remember if I went. I don't think I played that one. I think I have Miami getting knocked off in the second round, if I remember correctly.
Not liking Miami and being a Seinfeld fan, you gotta love the Drake, man. So it's hard for me not to pick the Drake. And Miami's battling.
I gave you some love. I did pick Drake.
And Miami's battling some injuries too. So to be honest with you, that's going to be a tough game for them. And that, I want to say that spread's only like 2 points. It's a low spread. All right, the next bracket, man, this is what I get for going to Google for the one that I can see. It's not the one that everybody else can see on the screen. Google does a terrible job with these things. But anyways, the next bracket that you got is the 1 seed. I mean, they just do an absolute awful job of this. Houston is the 1 seed in this one. And who do you have going out of that? So you've got Houston winning. You've got Auburn beating Iowa, Houston beating Auburn. You got Drake beating Miami, but then Indiana beating Drake. And Oh, you've got Indiana facing Xavier. And let me see. I can't see who ends up going in the Final Four. Who did you have going? Indiana? Is what it looks like. You froze again. This is terrible. Are you back? I just looked up and saw your pick, man. Your eyes were closed. It was a bad look. All right. So from what I'm gonna try to navigate this real quick. He took Indiana to go to the Final Four, I believe is what it says. If you can hear me, Justin, just jump in. I just saw you move, so I'm assuming you can hear me. But you're not responding, so maybe not. All right. And then the last one, last but not least, we are going to go with the final bracket. And that will be all right, here we go. Kansas beating Arkansas, beating UConn. You got Kansas and UCLA in the finals, and you got UCLA marching on. And I see your camera moving, but until you start talking, I'm just going to assume that you can't hear me. He's jumping out and hopefully jumping back in. So that gives them a UCLA. I'm going to check the actual screen itself because he sent me the actual thing. And what it's looking like is you've got, oh, he just sent me pictures. That's not going to be good. Here we go. He's got Michigan. He's got Michigan State and Indiana in the finals. Is that right? Beating UCLA. And wow, I would have thought it would have been some SEC in there, but he's got Mississippi State, or sorry, Michigan State in the finals, beating or losing to Indiana. Indiana, the national champion. That's a little shocking to me, considering Alabama getting to the. I mean, I don't like Michigan State. I actually think they're going to get knocked out, but I understand why a lot of folks. I see a lot of folks that are picking them. And I think the main reason why they're picking them is because when in doubt, right? When in doubt, you go and you pick the coaches, and Krzyzewski's not there anymore. So Tom Izzo has as much to do with anything college basketball as anybody. Justin's trying to join back in. We're going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about tonight's games, the point spreads, all the stuff that everyone actually cares about in the world of sports. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD.
Triple decker burn!
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hockey season, and that means new merch over at OurDragonsMerch.com. Get the latest designs and some of our fun new souvenirs ahead of what's sure to be a great hockey season. Celebrate another season of River Dragons hockey by getting a new look to wear on game days, or surprise the big-time sports fan in your life with a new keepsake that will make them a River Dragons fan for life. Order online right now at OurDragonsMerch.com. That's the letter R, DragonsMerch.com. We'll see you at the rink.
Hey, sports fans. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Although edited, tonight's thriller contains suspense and violence which may be unsuitable. Parental discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE. We are back. Aaron Rodgers says he wants to play for the Jets. And one of the things I forgot about today, World Baseball Classic, Mexico leads Canada. From my understanding, that's essentially a play-in game. Mexico leads Canada 3-2. It would be a bit of an upset if Canada were to knock out Mexico. But it's also kind of fun to watch Canada lose because they all melt down on Twitter. So I'm a little torn in that. Justin, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I hope I can be heard.
You can be heard. Are you any plans to watch the WBC once they get it off at a ridiculous time start, like the 10 p.m. start tonight? If the U.S. wins, they're in.
I will. I will watch. And when it's more convenient to your point, as long as it's not conflicting with the March Madness game, then because I'll be all into the bracket. I've become a basketball fan.
It honestly would make more sense if they had the late starts this weekend when they're going up against March Madness, right? But man, these late starts for the U.S. make zero sense. They're not putting them, and I don't want to hear because it's being played in Arizona. Well, we want to make sure the fan. No. If that's the case, then play it over on the East Coast somewhere, right? Because staying up till 1 p.m. is absurd. Now, what I am planning on doing, I'm going to bed early tonight because I'm going to get up and watch the replay of the game. And I figure I can probably squeeze that thing in about an hour and a half or so. So I'm going to get up a little earlier than what I normally do, around 5 or whatnot, and watch the replay, because I'm not going to start watching something that's going to last, because they don't even have the pitch clock. So it's going to last till 1:30. And I'm not going to do that for an exhibition, but I don't mind getting up early to watch it, to, try to, and that might be how I consume tonight's late tip for the college basketball game. So I didn't have to be up early today, but tomorrow I normally have to be up early. I didn't have to today. It's a long story, but with that, but I watched the tail end. I watched all the way to the end of that Pittsburgh Mississippi State game, which was a close game. I can't say it was good basketball because both teams were blech, and Mississippi State's offense is terrible. So I'm kind of, it's all said and done, it's kind of good that they did get it eliminated, because they're brutal to watch. I was pulling for them, but man, they're brutal to watch. I don't even know what sport they were playing. I was expecting on the Mississippi State end for there to be a peach basket, because it was that kind of offense. They were just, where's the old fashioned granny shot? Let's see if we can get it in. Tonight's games, the early game. I do plan on watching the early game. Early game, we've got Fairleigh Dickinson, Texas Southern. Texas Southern's a 3-point favorite, and the people are going to be looking at that and they're going to say, man, that's weird, because Texas Southern is 14-20 on the year. Dickinson is 19-15. Why are they a 3-point favorite? Because Southern plays in a much more difficult conference, and they actually played a pretty decent out-of-conference game. Dickinson, not so much. So I do like Texas Southern. I think I'm going to go ahead and take that as, no, you know what? My lock tonight's going to be Arizona State on the money line. They should beat Nevada. Nevada has been sliding. Do you have a lock today?
I was going to go both ways that you were. So since I'll just take the opposite, the one that you passed on, I'll take Texas Southern.
Texas Southern?
Mm-hmm. I like Arizona State and the other one, and I'm like you. When they're close like that, I'm just going to take money line.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things to do is to. I'm not doing it with these games. With these games, I'm going to go straight up tonight. But one of my favorite things to do on these lower games is you parlay two that you really like and you buy points to where you're getting $1.50, right? And I know they both have to hit, but you end up with about the same amount of a spread on a minus 110 line. I must be doing something right because I've hit quite a few games over the last couple of I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks. Whenever it was I started doing college basketball picks, there was a learning curve for about a week and a half, and then I was following the jockeys picks. He was getting crushed. I'm like, dude, there's got to be a better way, and I found a better way.
I think, especially after Mississippi State's departure, it's a crock that Vandy didn't get in. I'm sorry.
It's absurd.
That's a crock. They had a better resume. I don't care. They beat Tennessee. They beat Kentucky twice. There's another big win I'm walking past there, but man,
last night in the NIT they beat a very good Yale team, a Yale team that should have won their conference tournament. They were just ice cold from the floor they beat them with ease.
A&M that they went down to College Station and took to the wire. I think that was an L, but that was one that they gave them a test.
Mississippi State shouldn't have been in. I think we're gonna see that NC State shouldn't have been in. NC State got blown out 3 times by Clemson, and they didn't put Clemson in. And they either had the identical record or it was neck and neck. And I'm like, how does a team blow out another team 3 times and they take the other team because they start talking about quad 1, quad 2 wins, all that junk? Like, what about the fact that the other team is just better than the other team when they play? What about that?
And if I'm just being honest, Duke should have been the 4 and Tennessee the 5. I'm sorry, just going down the stretch. Yeah. You take the whole body of work, and I will say, where was that in the football side of things when they were looking? The NCAA was looking at Tennessee in the playoff committee because they didn't take that whole body of work. They let injuries factor in. Well, in basketball, they didn't see it the same way. Duke got. I just call it what it is. Duke should have been the 4. I don't even know if Tennessee is a 5, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's Tennessee's 4 and Duke is a 5.
But it should be reversed at best, and I'm thinking a 5 is a little bit generous, if I'm just being honest.
What they used to do, and it doesn't appear that they do it anymore, but I remember this being a narrative for years. They cared about your last 10 games, and if they care about your last 10 games, Vanderbilt is in, right?
Yes.
Not necessarily Clemson, but Vanderbilt is in. And they cared about, what was the other thing? It was your last 10 games and the common opponent. And there was something else I was going with that. I can't remember what it was. But the last 10 games, they've abandoned that whole thing. Now they're talking about, well, it's the whole body of work, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, I know what it was, the injuries. They used to say that if you had a major injury, it's going to affect your seeding, et cetera, right? That can't be the case for teams like UCLA. They lost their best player. He's done for the season. They're still a 2 seed. And it showed up in the game against Arizona for the championship. Arizona, and granted, all throughout the year, I think UCLA was the better team. But look, Arizona won that game fair and square. It is what it is. And I do believe that UCLA's got a chance because they're going to have a whole week of practice to adapt to this. And they've got one of the better coaches in the country, and they may go on a long run. I'm not even doubting that. But what I'm saying is that used to, what you would see is, well, Duke's played really well the last 10 games. We're going to put them at a 3 seed. UCLA's got a major injury. We're going to put them at a 3 or a 4, not at a 2. They're not doing that anymore. It's weird. And I have not been the Duke backer that I was before because I was more of a Krzyzewski fan, and now that he's gone, it's a little weird for me because I really don't even know if I'm still a Florida State guy, true. But when they stink at basketball, I always tended to watch Duke because of Krzyzewski. I just like his style of play. Well, now with it being, what is his name? starts with an S. I'm drawing a blank. But anyways, John, is it Schroeder? Anyways, I don't know if I can get as excited about watching them play. So I'm looking for other teams to kind of back going into this Final Four. I really wanted to pull for Tennessee, but that injury is going to be terrible.
Yeah, I don't know how you overcome the Ziegler injury. That was a monumental setback. I mean, they've bounced back all season. You gotta hope. You gotta hope your bigs get some shots to land, and you're in a defensive game, and you cause turnovers, and you actually you just gotta. It's got to be one of them ugly defensive wins. I mean, kind of like the season Virginia went. They're just gonna have to go with that ugly style, but you need the fortunate baskets. You're gonna need a couple lucky rolls and tip ins, or someone to emerge and get hot, and maybe they can do it. But gut feeling says I'm not even 100% confident they get past the first round. I think they do, but whether it's Duke or Roberts, I think they're going home in the second round. But
yeah, it's going to be tough for them to put anything together because it's just such a big piece of what they do to be done. And there's been some big major injuries for about 4 or 5 teams going into the tournament. And like I said before, normally that would affect your. And I remember years ago being ticked off because it was affecting a team I was pulling for. Say, well, that's nonsense. And they did it in football too, where they'd say, well, because you got your best player injured, we're not going to have you ranked as high. Like, yeah, but the team still won the game. What are we talking about here? And now it's all of a sudden, well, what we're going to do is we're going to pay attention. And it's funny because I used to always say this. So in theory, I'm okay with the direction it's going. I'm just a little irritated that now all of a sudden they're saying, well, it doesn't matter. What we're looking at is what the team did. What they used to do is look about the individual. Now they're looking at the jersey and saying, well, this jersey won X amount of games, right? But there's been some major injuries right down the stretch. And by the way, the NIT got going last night. And there's some pretty good games. That Rutgers Hofstra game, that was a good game.
I watch NIT. I mean, do you dive into them?
NIT? Because of this, yeah.
Okay.
I've gotten.
All right.
I know you don't catch the show as much as others, man. I've been hitting.
If mine's not in it, I can't do it. I've
been betting.
That's the only way. If one of my 2 that I pull for are in the NIT, then I'll watch. Aside from that, I don't tune in. It might as well.
Until this year, I never would have watched it, but I've got more into college basketball betting than I've ever. I used to try to play the game of going to NHL, NBA when football would get done, see if I could find something here and there. And I just decided to stick with college basketball, mainly because one of our guests that we had one time, and he was hitting. So I was paying attention. And then he started just losing terribly, and I was losing with him. I was like, something's got to give. So I started looking around to see if I could get better advice from other folks. And I found a couple of outlets and started looking at their analytics and why they're picking. And I think they've got I think they're onto something, is essentially where it is, without boring people and getting into the weeds of it. So I've been betting 2 or 3 games a night for the last 6 to 8 weeks, and I've got a winning percentage. So it's been profitable. I'm not going to retire anytime soon, but it's been profitable. But there are games tonight that have my interest. I'll tell you that, the NIT. But that's the only and the biggest reason why I'm more interested in the NIT this year than any other time, I've been betting the smaller conferences. And I will say this, until the guest came on that time, I never would have done that. I never paid attention to the smaller conferences, thought it was just a waste of time. And then I started watching these games, and you would start seeing common things. You're like, man, this team is good. This team's not good. This team's overrated. What in the hell is going on here? And then you start learning, well, there's not much of a home court advantage when it's 2 teams whose student enrollment's 1,200. You know what I mean? Like, don't even pay attention to the home court advantage in a Youngstown State, Alcorn State rivalry.
Could have gave my Camel some love, but maybe next time.
What's that?
You could have gave my Campbell some love, but next time.
They played in a couple of games that I watched because someone else was picking against them, and when I first dived into it, I wasn't picking all the games. I wanted to see if these guys knew what they were doing. I'm like, man, God, what am I listening to this jockey for? That 5'4" dude. Of course he can't. Of course he doesn't know basketball. So I was like, let's pay attention to someone else. And they were they've been pretty on the money. And I what I'll do is I'll listen to them, take about 3 of their advices and go, well, 2 of the dudes picked it and the other guy didn't. I'm going with the majority. And then sometimes you just got to trust your gut instinct. But like tonight in the NIT, real quick, the game that I'm most interested in, it's a late game. I won't be able to see it. That Virginia Tech Cincinnati game, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be a good game. Virginia Tech's getting 5.5. They played much better at home. That game's in Cincinnati. But, man, that is a big number. Florida plays Central Florida as well in Gainesville. If I was going to go one way or the other, I would take Florida on the home court. But they lost their big man about midway through the season, and they just haven't been the same team. There's a really good matchup that I like that I might just lay just because, and I'll check the score in the morning. Oregon's given up 7 to Cal Irvine. Oregon should smoke Cal Irvine. And Oregon's got that weird fan base. They'll show up and sell out a NIT tournament for whatever.
I can't watch their games. The floor messes with me.
Oh, the floor sucks, doesn't it?
It bothers I can't keep track. The mountains and treetops, and it blends in with the basketball. I can't. It's almost like watching hockey back before high definition, where you just like, could somebody play? I mean, I remember when they experimented and tried to highlight a puck, and that was a disaster in itself.
Yeah.
But at least you could momentarily find the puck. It's like old school, grainy, watching USA Russia back from the Olympics way back when.
We are right out of time. What is your walk-off, sir?
Hey, it's St. Patty's Day, so you know what that means. It's my birthday tomorrow. And then, see, that's why the Irish love me. They birthed me the day before so I could double up my heritage the following day. And then you won't hear from me Saturday or Sunday, and hopefully I feel better by Monday. Be safe, everyone.
Happy birthday. We'll be back tomorrow, 3 to 5. We go live. Stay tuned here on The Key, and we will see you mañana. I got a jam where we're up against time.
Goodbye, sweetheart, well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart, goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia. Friday, March 17th, St. Patty's Day with Braves Country. The Atlanta Braves are in Fort Myers, Florida to take on the Boston Red Sox. Braves Country Baseball right here on the Key, giving you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. That's Friday, March 17th, 1 p.m. Eastern, St. Patty's Day, Braves Country on WQEE. Friday, March 17th.